it's shown up inequality a lot more. For example, I live in a flat. We don't have a lot of extra space, so I'm living and working and everything in the same position. Also, because of my disability, I've got like one special chair at home that I can't move. And so I've literally become resigned to this one tiny corner in my house. And I think there's been a lot of, people forgetting that not everyone has a spare bedroom that they can create into an office. And I think that's just one of the small things that has been highlighted, that, I don't have a garden. So many of my colleagues were spending time out in their garden during the first lockdown, and I'm just stuck in a flat. Because of my mobility, I also can't get out the same way other people can, and I'm in a town centre, so there isn't like green areas to go to, and I can't get to them easily. So I think it's shown up a lot of the barriers that we face and overcome sort of on a daily basis have become more apparent, I would say. But equally, I've been able to manage my fatigue in ways that work better for me. So I haven't had that the pressure of traveling in the morning. So I've been able to log on once my body's working, and that and that way it's been a lot better. So it's sort of like there's some bonuses and some negatives for all of it, I think. And my hope is that moving forwards we can be a lot more adaptable to people's individual needs. I think we've got a lot to learn from this and the use of technology from a number of angles, because I'm wondering if having part in person and part virtual meetings moving forwards would help people that we work with. So, for example, when you've got things like child protection conferences, is it going to be less intimidating for families to be there with just one or two professionals and the rest Skyping or coming in via video link and having a camera in the room? So I think it's giving us a lot of options of ways that we can work differently moving forwards. I do miss the face-to-face, but I suppose I have barriers in that way, because so few homes are accessible, so few homes are step free, that I have to walk into the homes. So that can take me all my energy for like 2 days to go and do a home visit sort of thing. So I think it's just highlighted that I suppose for me it's nice to have that option, that I don't have to home visit every single time, and I hope that I can use that going forward, because it means more access to my job, I suppose. For me, the old normal wasn't hugely accessible anyway, so I would really like us to not just return to what we were doing, but to use this as think of ways that society could be more accessible. So for I love to have stuff to look forward to. I love live music, I love the theatre and all those things. But what it's shown us is that for people who could get overwhelmed by crowds, by sort of too much noise and sensory, and that we could stream some of these into people's homes, which would give some more access. But equally, I'm really determined that everywhere should be accessible to disabled people, and part of that is also the homes that are being built should be accessible. There's less than 7% of homes are accessible, I think it is, with around 20% of the population with a disability. That's just horrendous. How if homes are more accessible, that makes all professions where you're visiting people in homes more accessible to disabled people. I really think as a nation we need to focus on accessibility across everything. I can't use public transport half the time because I have to book it 2 days in advance to and go to a station that's accessible to get on a train. So there's so many things that aren't accessible to me as a disabled person that I think surely we should be looking at ways to make society a place where everyone can be included. And part of that is going to be taking some of the learning from what we've had to do over the past year to offer more than one way of accessing things. And I think that's there's a lot of disabled people that have been to live music or seen a theatre show that have been housebound for various reasons for their illness or their disability, and having that sort of access has been really helpful for them. And also in work, being able to work at home has meant that a lot of people with chronic illnesses, for example, can manage their symptoms better whilst continuing to work. So I think there's a lot of learning that could really benefit everyone, because I think when you make society and work and socializing accessible, it benefits everyone, because there's lots of non-disabled people that would benefit from being able to zoom into a meeting rather than be there in person. It's going to be better for the environment if people aren't driving and traveling everywhere all the time. So I think, in making the world a more accessible place, it would definitely benefit everyone and not just disabled people.